Hi everyone, my name is Kamri Hosmann and I'm going to be talking to you today about active meditation and practicing that with some origami. So we're going to be folding paper cranes today. All you're going to need is just a piece of paper and a comfortable place to sit. I'm going to be using just like white computer paper today. That I've colored on so that's a little easier to see. You can use like lined notebook paper. This used to be, I think, like a grocery list or something. There's some writing on here. You can use like an old page from a calendar if you have a flyer, something that you're just not using anymore but you don't have computer paper, that's absolutely fine. You're going to want to know that the thinner your paper is, for instance, the lined paper is a little thinner than the computer paper. The folds are going to go in a little easier, but they're not going to go in as stiff. So he's not going to be quite as sturdy as something with a thicker paper. On the other hand, if you go with a much thicker paper, it's going to be a lot harder to crease, and you're going to be more likely to tear. But with this particular origami project, you absolutely can do a thicker paper. I've done it before. It just takes a little more patience. So what is active meditation? We all know about meditation and that it's good for you, and scientists think you should do it, and probably if you see a counselor they think you should do it, and just like the general population is really into it because it is beneficial. It's a good coping skill. It helps us calm and center, and just like be with ourselves and figure out what we need and what we're feeling at a given time. But it can be hard for people, me included, sometimes to get into that space, or it can be hard if you've got anxiety or a lot of things that are just like running through your brain, to kind of get to that calm place without the help of something that you can engage with. So the idea of active meditation is that we're introducing that something to engage with. So we're increasing your ability to be in the present moment by engaging your senses, your sight, your physical body. We're also going to engage our ears and our sense of touch. So as we work through this, normally I'll like to put on some calming music or some meditation sound. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it in the background, but I live sort of near a train, so there's a train and there's cars going up and down the street. These are not necessarily the sounds that we always want, but I think in an active meditation, it's easier to let those things go and focus on the sounds that we're making by folding the paper, with our breathing, whatever. So that's what we're going to do today. Again, all you need is a piece of paper and a comfortable place. And to work on this meditation, all we're going to do is try and stay present. So we're going to focus on what we're hearing, what we're feeling, and what we're doing as we fold the paper crane. And the paper crane I chose for a couple of reasons, but one of which is that it's a pretty repetitive process. So I'm hoping that once I teach it to you, you'll be able to do it on your own with a little bit of practice, and you won't have to refer back to this all the time. So if you ever get just stressed, you can take a couple minutes and a piece of paper and help calm yourself down. All right, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is start paying attention to our breathing. We want to be taking deep breaths. We want to be calm. So we ideally want to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouths. I know it's allergy season right now, so if that's not possible for you, totally fine. Just be aware of your breathing and try and keep it deep and relaxed. Sometimes origami can be a little frustrating, especially if it's the first time you've practiced. I'm going to be going slow, I'm going to be repeating myself, and I'll be throwing in a few tricks to make it a little easier for you. But you can absolutely pause, you can go back. There's no pressure to this. This is meant to be kind of a calming activity, okay? Okay, and then we're going to get going. If you need a couple more minutes to get into a relaxed place, go ahead and pause and do that. I think this is a great time to take, for ourselves and to be a little more careful of what we're doing, where we're at. And a good way to get in touch with that is by taking a second to calm down and breathe. Let's get started on the actual origami. So again, you just need a piece of paper. It's going to need to be square when we go to start. If what you have is a rectangular piece of paper, an easy trick to get it perfectly square without having to measure it is that you're just going to fold the short edge until it meets the long edge and get a triangle. Okay. And then all you have to do is cut off this rectangle here and you'll have a perfect square. Incidentally, you'll also have the first fold of the project. Now, if you're using a colored paper or a paper that has words on it, something that you don't want to show, only one side of the paper is actually going to show in this project. And the first step is the only step where it's important that we pay attention to what we want on the outside and what we want on the inside. So you could, if you wanted to, write something. So if you wanted to write a letter that you didn't want someone to see, or you are just frustrated and you've scribbled or something and you don't want to see that anymore, if you put it on the back side, you'll never see it again. It's going to be hidden inside of the folds of the crane. So you would have to physically open some of the seams to be able to see it. So that could be really fun if you have something that you really, like if your neighbors are driving you crazy and you want to write like a letter that you don't intend to send to them, like, oh my gosh, you're so loud, I wish you would stop, or whatever, and it makes you feel better to get that out. Then you can transform that into something that you actually enjoy looking at with that message on the inside, so you don't have to see that all the time. Or if you got something that's important to you, but you don't want to look at the actual words of, you can do this with that. Okay, so the part that we want to be on the outside of the crane, we're going to start with that on top, and we're going to fold what's called a valley fold. So we are hiding that for now, but again, it is going to be the part that you see. We're going to take the corners up to meet each other, and we're going to make a seam. As we do this, we're going to listen to the sound the paper makes when we slide our finger across it, and we're going to feel the crease being made under our fingers. Okay, then we're going to turn it over and make the same fold again on the opposite side. Alright, now we're going to open it up and flip it over, so you'll be seeing the part that you don't want to see in the end. And we're going to fold long ways. Alright, and then we're going to do the same. Like I said, almost every step of this process is going to be repeated at least once, which I think makes it really easy to get the hang of. Okay, so we're not going to flatten this. We're going to turn it over, and you can see that the seams we made make the paper want to fold so that there's sort of an X here, and it makes sort of a diamond shape. That's exactly what we want. So we're going to take one of these and one of these on the opposite sides where they're already wanting to press in, and we're just going to let them press in, okay? So what that's going to look like, it's going to be a diamond, okay? Now from this point on, we want the part that opens up to be facing towards you, and the part that's closed with the seam to be facing away. I'm going to be doing it towards you like this, so that your paper should always be oriented the same way as mine, okay? Now there's a crease right here in the center. Can't really see mine, so I'm just going to highlight it for you. You don't have to draw in the seams at all. There's absolutely no reason to do it. I'm just doing it so that you can see better. Okay? So what we're going to do is take these corners. We're going to fold them into the center. As we do it, we're going to remember to breathe. We're going to feel the paper in our hands, okay? So here we go. You want to get it as close as you can. To perfect. The more perfect it is now, the better it's going to look in the end. But if it's not quite perfect now, that's okay. The crayon is pretty forgiving, and it'll hide a lot of those mistakes. But the more precise you are now, the better it'll look in the end. So, okay, we're going to do the same thing here. I just love the way that feels when you press in the seams. Okay, so we should have something that looks like this. Now we're just going to turn it right over and do the exact same thing back here. Like I said, everything's repeated. Okay. Now that we've got this on both sides, you're going to take the little triangle at the top, and you're going to fold it down flat on both sides, okay? Flat. All right, now this next step is sort of optional, but I think it makes the step after way easier, so I'm going to show it to you. You take this seam, and you're going to reinforce it by just folding it back the other way. See how I did that? I'll show you on this one because we're going to do it again just like everything else. I'm just going to take that seam and we're going to recrease it so that it goes both ways. Okay? And we're going to do that on both sides. You're going to want to leave these open when you're done doing this because we're going to need them open for the next step. Awesome. So what we're going to do is take this seam at the top and we're going to make sure that the top of this stays closed. We're going to lift where this opens, so you should only have one layer of paper in your hand. There should be more below. And we're just going to pull it up. Okay? So the sides are going to want to come in. That's exactly what we want from them. So we're going to encourage them to do that. And we're going to press them when they get there. Okay? So what you should have is sort of a tall triangle with a broader triangle behind it. So we're just going to turn it over and do the exact same thing over here. We're using those seams that we just double reinforced to make this fold. Beautiful. Now we're almost done. So what we're going to do is open this. So you're just going to lift both of these flaps that are in front of you. And press down. So what we should have is sort of a triangle with ears, almost like a face. It should open here, and it should have a triangle here. Okay, and we've got that on both sides. What we're going to do now is create the head and the tail. So we're going to do that by folding these corners into the center seam like we did before. Okay. Now it's a little bit harder here at the end. It gets stiff because you've got a few layers of paper. Just kind of make it as straight as you can and force it down. That's part of what origami is. It's just kind of smushing stuff that doesn't want to fold sometimes. Okay, I'm going to do that again here. And these are my favorite seams to do because the paper gets really noisy. The more layers you give to it, really sort of talks to you. Okay, So then we're going to turn it over and do exactly the same thing. Now I always find that one side is just a touch stubborn and comes out a little crooked. That's the side I just make the head, because we're going to fold down one of these sides anyways. So don't worry too much if one of them's not perfect. All right, now that we've got this, we're going to pick up one side and we're just going to lift it as far as it wants to lift. We're not going to force it past that. And we're going to crease it down. So what should happen is that it reaches the same height as these other parts. These are going to be the wings. Okay, and it's flat on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to turn it over and do the same thing. Perfect. So this is what we have. Now we're going to open it again, right? So we're going to take the sides that are closed and we're just going to open those flaps. You're going to pinch here at the bottom and you're going to fold down your wings. So what you have, I like to fold them all the way down here as far as they want to fold. I don't force them past it. You can fold them up higher so you can see on the edge where the angle changes. Some people like to fold them right there where the angle changes. Just gives you sort of a different look to your wing. So it's got more of a higher tilt. I like to pull mine so that they stand. And it doesn't matter which way you do it if you want them to look that way. Okay. And then you're going to pinch back at the bottom. And as we pinch, we're going to just slide these out a little. So they have a little more personality. They're a little further away from each other. And I pick whichever one's uglier or whichever one's not quite a perfect fold to be the head. Now you can do the head a couple of ways. You can open the paper up and push down so you have a flat head here. Or you can just fold the paper down, make a crease, and have sort of a smaller, thinner head. I'm just going to go with that because that's what I did second. But you have options. And then when I want mine to stand, I put my finger on the seam in the middle and I just kind of pull apart a little bit. You get this sort of sassy wings up bird that's like, hey, what's up, guys? Like he's kind of in midair. So that's how you fold paper crane. With practice, these will go faster for you. You'll be able to make a few in your meditation session. Put all of these together. You can have like a little family of cranes. You can make a display out of them. You can, fold your what do you call them? You can fold things that have sentimental value to you that are just sort of flat pieces of paper into paper cranes if you want to give them some visual interest. If you want to create an art piece with them, or if you just want to have them kind of laying around the house. I have a ton of these kind of everywhere because I just enjoy folding them. Whatever suits you, or if you want to throw them away when you're done, you can. It's okay. So the point of this process is just to relax and to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know. I can do other videos of sort of easy origami stuff if y'all are interested, so just give me a shout. Thanks.